The galaxy was wide and endless. Among thousands of stars, there existed worlds so dangerous that only the strongest species could live there. The beings from those places were called Deathworlders. They were hard, fierce, and proud. To survive on their home planets meant to conquer storms, hunger, poison, and predators every single day. These species had once been enemies, but centuries of battles had taught them a painful truth. Fighting each other only made them weaker, so they joined together under one flag and one oath. This was how the Deathworld Alliance was born. The Alliance was respected and feared across the galaxy. Their fleets kept order, their soldiers guarded trade routes, and their technology was advanced enough to challenge even ancient empires. But one day, a strange report came from the edge of known space. A small patrol ship, belonging to the reptilian race of the Alliance, detected something strange. A dark object was moving through empty space beyond the last star charted by their scanners. It moved without light, without signal, and without any sign of a propulsion system. It was not drifting. It was moving with purpose. At first, the commander of the patrol ship ignored it. There were many old wrecks floating in the dark. But then the object changed direction. It began to follow the patrol ship. That made no sense because no signal or heat could be detected from it. The patrol captain ordered a scan, but all the readings failed. Every system froze for 3 seconds and then restarted by itself. The crew grew nervous. They decided to leave, but the moment the engines powered up, the strange object accelerated. It closed the distance in seconds. The patrol ship tried to send a distress call, but before they could finish, all their systems shut down. The final transmission sent to the Alliance base was short. Just one sentence repeated 3 times. "Something is watching us." After that, silence. When the report reached the Alliance Council, it was treated as a ghost story, maybe a malfunction, maybe pirates. But when a second ship disappeared in the same sector, and then a third, the Council began to worry. The Alliance sent a full investigation fleet of 10 ships, equipped with the best scanning technology, and led by a respected commander named Rin Toral. Commander Rin was known for her calm mind. She had faced space storms, plasma beasts, and pirate wars, but even she felt something cold when she saw the recordings from the missing ships. Static, then darkness, then one flash of strange symbols on the screen before the data ended. Her fleet jumped into the region where the ships had vanished. The place was empty, a star system without any planets, only asteroids and dust clouds. The scanners picked up nothing. The crew began to relax, thinking it was another false alarm. But then, at the edge of the long-range radar, something appeared, a single black shape moving silently through the void. Rin ordered magnification. The image was strange. It looked like a ship, but not made of any known metal. Its surface was smooth and dark, like glass that swallowed light. No windows, no markings, no lights. It was large, bigger than any Alliance battleship, and it was coming closer. The fleet tried to hail it. No response. They sent a probe. The moment the probe got close, the signal was lost. Rin frowned. She ordered her ships to form a defensive circle. The black vessel slowed down and stopped. It hung in space like a shadow. Then a vibration passed through every ship's system. Not physical, but digital. The communication screens flickered. For a second, static filled the bridge. Then something appeared. A message. Not in the Alliance language. Not in any known alien code. It was in a language that no one there understood. Rin's translator tried to decode it. The computer took almost a full minute, and when the translation appeared on the screen, the bridge went silent. "We warned you not to come near." Everyone stared at the message. Rin asked who sent it. There was no signal origin. It had appeared in their network as if it had always been there. The black ship moved again. Slowly, silently, it began to approach. The fleet armed their weapons. 10 ships all ready for combat. Rin gave one last warning through every frequency. "This is Commander Rin of the Deathworld Alliance. Identify yourself or we will open fire." No answer. The black ship came closer. It stopped only 2,000 kilometers away. Then something impossible happened. Every weapon on every Alliance ship went offline. Shields fell to 0. Engines froze. Even gravity systems stopped working for a few seconds. Panic spread across the fleet. Rin shouted orders, but nothing responded. Her crew scrambled to restart systems, but the ship's computer refused to follow commands. Then on the main view screen, new symbols appeared. They changed rapidly, forming new lines of text. The translator again worked hard and another sentence formed. "You do not understand the danger you bring." Rin tried to respond, but her microphone was dead. The black ship opened a section on its hull. Inside, something glowed, a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Then a wave of energy spread from it. Every scanner in the fleet exploded with data. The readings were beyond scale. It was not a weapon in the usual sense. It was something else, something that bent signals and matter together. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the black ship turned and vanished into hyperspace. When the systems came back online, Rin's fleet was damaged but still alive. One of her ships, however, was missing. It had been taken. Not destroyed, just gone. No trace on sensors. Rin immediately reported back to the Alliance Council. The council chamber filled with tension as she described the event. Many did not believe her. Some accused her of exaggeration. Others demanded to attack at once and destroy the unknown ship before it became a threat. The council leader, a tall insectoid being named Karn Vel, spoke calmly. "If this is real, we must understand who they are, find where they came from. Perhaps they are not our enemy. Perhaps they are warning us of something larger." Rin nodded but remained uneasy. That night, while reviewing data logs, she found something strange. In the background noise of the message transmission, a pattern appeared. Not random noise, but a voice. The computer enhanced it. A clear sound emerged. Human language. She looked at the translation. The voice said quietly, almost like a whisper, "Stay away from the frontier. It is not safe for anyone." She had never heard of humans before, except in old records. They were said to live on a small planet in a remote arm of the galaxy. The Alliance had classified their world as a Deathworld due to its high gravity and dangerous life forms. But they were believed to be primitive, still developing slow ships and small colonies. If this was truly a human ship, then something had changed. In the following weeks, the Alliance observed more strange activity. Unmarked vessels moving near the frontier, unknown signals bouncing between satellites, and damaged probes returning with corrupted data. One probe even brought back images, blurry shots of more black ships moving together in formation like a silent fleet. The Council ordered full monitoring of the border. Every scientist, every strategist wanted to know who these humans were, and why they were suddenly showing power greater than any known species. In the lower levels of the main Alliance research station, technicians worked on decoding the strange signal left by the black ship. It was not just a warning. It contained data, long encrypted with layers of code no one could read. After many sleepless nights, a group of engineers found the meaning. It was a map, but the map was not to any star or planet. It was a region of dark space filled with strange energy. It looked like a storm frozen in time. The coordinates pointed to an area long thought to be empty. The scientist named it Sector Null. Commander Rin was given the task to lead a new expedition there. As she prepared her fleet, she could not shake the feeling that the black ship had not been threatening them. It had been warning them away. But from what? As the ships left the base, every member of the crew watched the stars ahead. None of them knew what waited beyond the darkness. Somewhere far from their route, another black vessel watched silently, hidden in shadow. Its systems hummed softly as it sent a message back to its home. The message was simple. The news of the black ship spread through the Alliance faster than any flame in dry grass. Every world in the coalition was talking about it. Soldiers spoke in fear, scientists spoke in curiosity, and politicians spoke in pride, promising that the Alliance would not be intimidated by one mysterious vessel. But in the deep halls of the Council, many leaders were not as confident as they sounded. They had faced strong enemies before, but never something that could shut down entire fleets without firing a single weapon. Commander Rin was called back to the capital world of the Alliance. The City of Light spread across the planet like a shining web, filled with ships from dozens of species. Rin stepped into the great council chamber where the highest members waited. Around her sat reptilian warriors, insectoid scholars, armored mammalians, and other beings whose shapes were strange even to her. The air was heavy with tension. Karn Vel, the council leader, looked at her with steady eyes. "Commander Rin, we have studied your report. This threat is unlike any we have seen. You believe it is connected to an old species known as humans." Rin nodded. "Yes, council leader. The signals match old records of human communication. But the humans we know were far less advanced. They had slow ships and small colonies. Nothing that could match our power. Another council member, a wide and scaled creature named Yorvak, slammed his tail on the floor. Then it is impossible. Humans cannot build such a ship. It must be a trick by another power. Perhaps the machines from the Outer Rim are behind this. Rin spoke again, calm but firm. With respect, Counselor, the technology we saw is unlike anything the machines use. It was not mechanical alone. It was something different, something that feels alive. The chamber went silent for a moment. Then Karn Vel gave his order. We will not sit idle. A small strike group will test the strength of this human ship. We must know if it is dangerous. Commander Rin, you will not go this time. We need your mind for planning. Another fleet will be sent. Rin wanted to argue, but she knew better. Orders were orders. She saluted and stepped back. 3 powerful warships of the Alliance were chosen. Each one was armed with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. They moved fast, jumping through space to reach the border where the black ship had last been seen. They spread out, scanning every signal, every shadow. For a while, nothing appeared. Then, on the edge of the system, they found it again. The same dark shape, waiting in the silent void. The commander of the strike group, an experienced warrior named Solrak, opened a wide communication channel. His voice echoed through the black ship's surroundings. Unknown vessel, this is the Deathworld Alliance fleet. Identify yourself now or face fire. The black ship did not move. Solrak gave the order. The first warship launched a warning shot. A bright beam that flashed across space. The beam hit the black ship's hull and vanished like a drop of water on stone. No damage. No reaction. Before the fleet could fire again, their systems began to flicker. One by one, every screen went dark. Every weapon went cold. Alarms echoed through the ships. The crews shouted in panic, trying to restart systems, but nothing worked. Then, through the silence, a message appeared on every main screen at once. It was the same as before. Simple, short, and clear. We warned you not to come near. Solrak roared in anger and hit the console. Suddenly, the black ship moved. It passed through the fleet like a ghost. No collision, no explosion, just movement faster than sensors could track. Then it was gone. When the systems came back, 2 ships were missing. Only Solrak's command ship remained. He tried to contact the others, but there was no reply. They were gone from every scanner, every frequency. Solrak barely managed to send a signal to the nearest relay station before his ship began to shake. A light filled the bridge, blinding everyone. The next thing he saw was darkness. Days later, a single escape pod drifted near the border of Alliance space. Inside was Solrak, half-conscious, whispering to himself. When rescue teams opened the pod, he looked at them with wide eyes and spoke a single sentence before fainting. They are not fighting for power. They are fighting to protect us from something worse. That message changed everything. The Alliance held an emergency meeting. The hall was crowded with leaders, scientists, and generals. Many shouted at once, demanding war or peace or answers. Rin stood silently listening. Karn Vel raised his voice above the noise. If what Solrak said is true, then these humans are not our enemies. But what could be worse than them? What are they fighting? No one had an answer. Rin stepped forward. We must speak to them directly. Attacking again will only lead to more loss. Let me lead a diplomatic mission. If they are warning us about a danger, we need to know what it is. The council debated for hours. At last they agreed. Rin was chosen to lead a small envoy ship. No weapons, no escort, only a crew of diplomats and translators. Their mission was simple: find the humans and talk. The journey was long. They followed the strange signals left by the black ships. After weeks of travel, they reached the edge of human space. There, waiting in the darkness, were not one but many black vessels. Hundreds of them, silent and still, forming a line across the stars. It looked like a wall of night. The envoy ship stopped at a safe distance. Rin sent a message in every known language. We come in peace. We are from the Deathworld Alliance. We wish to understand why your ships guard this region. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then one of the black ships moved forward. A channel opened and a face appeared on Rin's screen. It was human. A woman with calm eyes and short dark hair. She wore a simple uniform with a silver mark on her shoulder. A broken circle. The symbol of the Earth Defense Corps. The woman spoke with quiet authority. I am Mira, commander of the Human Defense Fleet. We did not want to meet this way, but your ships entered restricted space. You were warned for your own safety. Rin bowed her head slightly. We meant no harm, Commander Mira, but your ships have destroyed our fleets and taken our people. We seek answers, not war. Mira looked at her for a long time before answering. We did not destroy them. We saved them. They are alive, but they saw things that must not be seen. We fight not against you, but against something older and far more dangerous. Rin frowned. What danger? Mira's face grew serious. You call this region Sector Null. It is not empty. Long ago, we discovered an ancient life form there. It feeds on energy on stars themselves. We call it the Devourer. It has no home, no mind, only hunger. When we found it, we tried to destroy it. We failed, so we built the Phantom Fleet, the ships you call Black Ghosts, to hold it back. The bridge of Rin's ship fell silent. No one spoke. The thought of a creature that could eat stars was beyond imagination. Mira continued. The Devourer sleeps now, trapped within a collapsed star. But if disturbed, it will wake. Your ships came too close. That is why we acted. Not to harm you, but to stop you from waking it. Rin asked, then why not tell us? Why the secrecy? Mira looked tired. Because most would not believe us. When we warned other species in the past, some tried to weaponize the knowledge. They wanted to use the Devourer's power. We cannot risk that again. Humanity fights not for conquest, but survival. For all life in this galaxy. Rin listened in silence. She could see truth in Mira's eyes. These humans had faced something terrible and still stood guard against it. She said, you could have destroyed us easily, yet you spared us. I will report this to the Alliance. Perhaps together we can face this threat? Mira shook her head gently. Not yet. Your worlds are not ready. You must stay away from the frontier. We will handle this. When the time comes, you will know. Until then, do not come here again. The connection ended. The black ships turned and faded into the darkness like shadows melting into night. Rin sat quietly on the bridge, her thoughts heavy. She had come seeking answers and had found something far greater. The humans were not just another species. They were guardians of a secret war that no one else even knew existed. As her ship turned back toward Alliance space, she looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity was fighting an enemy that could swallow suns. And they fought not for themselves alone, but for everyone. When Rin's ship reached the council capital, she delivered her full report. Many refused to believe it, but the data was clear. The humans were more advanced than anyone had guessed. They had faced something the Alliance could not imagine and lived to tell the tale. Carnvel spoke softly after hearing her story. Perhaps humanity is not what we thought they were. Perhaps they are the reason the galaxy is still alive. Rin agreed. Yes, Council Leader. They fight in silence, but they fight for all of us. As she left the hall, she looked once more at the stars through the great window. The black ships were gone, but their presence remained in her mind. Somewhere beyond the edge of known space, the true war continued. Commander Rin could not sleep after her return from the meeting with the humans. Even when she closed her eyes, she could still see the endless line of black ships, waiting in silence across the stars like guardians of night. She had spoken to Commander Mira and had seen truth in her words. Humanity was fighting a war that no one else even knew about, but the thought of a creature that could eat stars was hard to accept. In the following weeks, the Alliance Council reviewed her report again and again. Many refused to believe her. Some said the humans were lying to keep the Alliance away from their territory. Others said it was a trick to make the Alliance afraid. But Carnvel, the council leader, trusted Rin's words. He had seen many species lie, yet he felt this was different. He ordered more studies on Sector Null and its strange energy patterns. At the same time, far away in human space, Commander Mira stood on the bridge of her command ship, Eclipse 1. Outside her window, hundreds of phantom vessels moved like shadows. They were silent, smooth, and alive in a way that no normal ship was. Each one carried both human crew and artificial minds linked together, thinking and reacting faster than any single mind could. Together, they formed the Earth Defense Corps' main line of defense. Mira looked at the map before her. The holographic display showed the galaxy's edge, where Sector Null glowed like a scar of dark energy. Around it were human stations, weapon platforms, and the Phantom Fleet, all positioned to hold back what slept within. The Devourer had been quiet for years, but the energy around it was changing. Small waves of disturbance were growing stronger, like the breathing of a sleeping giant. Her second-in-command, a man named Taryn, approached her. "Commander, new readings from the deep sensors. The containment field is losing strength again. The core station reports minor cracks in the energy web." Mira studied the data. "Increase the stabilizer output by 30%. And tell the engineers to be ready for a manual override if the field collapses. We cannot let it wake," Taryn nodded. "Yes, Commander." Mira turned to the window again. "The Alliance is watching us now. They will not stay silent forever. When they come again, we need to be ready to show them the truth." On the other side of the galaxy, Commander Rin was preparing for another journey. Carnvel had given her permission to visit human space once more, this time as an official observer. She would travel alone in a small ship equipped with stealth systems. The Council wanted her to learn what she could about human technology and confirm if their warning was real. As her ship approached the border, she was once again greeted by the same sight, the black wall of ships. But this time, instead of blocking her, one of them opened a path. Her ship was guided through narrow corridors of light until it reached a large human station. The design was unlike anything she had seen. It was not metallic or cold like Alliance bases. It looked alive, covered with panels that shifted slowly as if breathing. When Rin's ship landed, Commander Mira herself came to greet her. "Welcome back, Commander Rin. You have come further than any other outsider. I hope this time you will understand." Rin followed Mira through long corridors filled with both humans and machines. Many of the crew members were connected to neural systems that linked them directly to the ship. They moved with calm focus, speaking little. Every screen showed streams of data about energy patterns and space fluctuations. Rin asked, "Your people seem different." "Your technology looks alive," Mira replied. "It is. We learned long ago that we could not fight the Devourer with normal tools. We had to evolve. Our ships are part machine, part mind. We call them living vessels. Each one carries a piece of human consciousness so it can react faster than any program." Rin stopped walking. "You mean your people merge with the ships?" Mira nodded. "Yes, it is the only way to match the enemy's power. We give a part of ourselves to protect the rest." They entered a large hall where a massive screen showed a swirling storm of dark red light. Mira pointed to it. "This is the Devourer's prison. A dying star collapsed around it, creating a cage of gravity and radiation, but the creature still moves inside. Every few years it pushes against the field, testing its limits. When it does, our ships strengthen the net. If we fail, it will escape and consume again." Rin looked at the display in silent awe. The energy readings were beyond anything she had ever seen. "If this creature escapes, what will happen?" Mira's voice was quiet. "The nearest 50 systems will die within weeks. The rest of the galaxy will follow. It feeds on light itself. Once it wakes fully, nothing can stop it." Rin finally understood the reason for the humans' secrecy. They were not trying to control the galaxy. They were holding back something that could destroy it. Suddenly, alarms began to sound across the station. Red lights flashed. Mira turned sharply. "Report," a young officer replied. "Ma'am, energy spikes from the containment field. Zone 3 is collapsing. The Devourer is moving." Rin felt the deck tremble slightly under her feet. She looked at the screen and saw a wave of energy spreading outward from the dark storm. The creature was stirring. Mira shouted, "Launch all Phantom units. Seal Zone 3 and redirect power from secondary reactors. Prepare for impact." Through the window, Rin saw the black ships moving in perfect formation. They formed a circle around the storm, glowing faintly as energy beams connected them together. The space around them shimmered like ripples on water. The wave hit. The station shook as alarms blared louder. Rin gripped the console while Mira stood firm. "Hold positions. Increase power. Stabilize the net." For several tense minutes the struggle continued. The Devourer pressed against its prison, sending pulses that made stars flicker in the distance. Then finally the readings began to drop. The storm calmed. The light faded. Silence returned to the bridge. The officers exhaled in relief. Mira nodded slowly. "Good work, everyone. Maintain watch. That was only a test. It is not sleeping as deeply as before." Rin stood beside her, still shaken. "How long have you been doing this?" Mira answered, "Almost a century. Our ancestors first discovered it when exploring the frontier. They lost entire fleets trying to understand what it was. Since then, every generation of humans has trained and fought to keep it contained. We have sacrificed many to ensure it never reaches your worlds." Rin felt a mix of respect and sadness. "And no one else knows?" Mira shook her head. Few would believe us, and even fewer would help without trying to use this power for themselves. The devourer is not something to control. It is a hunger that cannot be reasoned with. Rin asked, "Then why did you allow me to come here?" Mira looked at her seriously. "Because the balance is changing. The creature is waking faster. Soon even we will not be enough. Humanity has held the line for centuries, but if it rises again, the galaxy must be ready. You must tell your alliance the truth." Rin nodded. "They will listen. I will make sure they do." Before she could leave, Mira added, "We will contact you when the time is right. Until then, tell them only this. The wall holds, but the storm grows stronger." Rin returned to her ship and left the human station. As she moved away, she looked one last time at the dark region where the devourer slept. Even from far away, she could feel its presence like a heartbeat echoing through the stars. When she reached Alliance space, she went straight to the council. The leaders listened as she told them everything: the devourer, the containment, the human sacrifices, and the living ships. Many still doubted her, but the data she brought could not be denied. The energy waves detected in Sector Null matched her reports exactly. Karn Vel rose from his seat. "If this is true, then humanity has saved us all without asking for reward or recognition. We owe them more than we can ever repay." Rin replied, "They do not seek reward. They seek help. If we ignore them, one day the creature will wake and all our worlds will burn." The council debated again. Some wanted to prepare defenses, while others feared provoking the humans. In the end, they agreed to send observation fleets to monitor the border, but not to enter. They would wait for more signs. Rin accepted their decision, but knew waiting would not be enough. She had seen the danger with her own eyes. She knew the storm would rise again. Meanwhile, deep within human space, Mira stood once more before the star map. Her fleet was still repairing damage from the last surge. She whispered to herself, "They will come to understand soon. When the devourer wakes, no wall will hold forever." She turned to her crew. "Begin preparations for the final phase. If it wakes again, we fight with everything we have. Humanity was born on a death world. We learned to survive against impossible odds. We will not stop now." Across the galaxy, the Deathworld Alliance watched the border with growing unease. Their sensors picked up strange vibrations, faint but constant. The stars near Sector Null flickered, and whispers spread once more among soldiers and civilians alike. The humans were still silent. The black ships remained at their posts. But those who listened closely to the deep frequencies of space could hear something else. A slow rhythmic pulse, like the breathing of something ancient, something alive. And thus the silent war continued, hidden in the dark, with humanity standing alone between the galaxy and the hunger of the void. The Deathworld Alliance ship followed Mira's phantom vessel into the dark nebula. The stars around them began to fade, one by one, swallowed by a thick cloud of dust and strange light. Every reading from their scanners went unstable. The sensors could not decide what was real and what was not. Commander Rin stood at the viewing glass, watching the strange colors move like liquid fire outside. He had seen storms, black holes, and plasma fields, but nothing like this. It felt alive. Mira's voice came from the comm line. She told them to stay close and keep their weapons offline. The phantom vessels were releasing a strange kind of field that protected the ships from the radiation in the nebula. Without that shield, the Alliance ship would have melted in minutes. Rin's crew could see the human ships moving like silent guardians, each one glowing faintly blue as the field pulsed through them. They moved in perfect order, as if one mind guided them all. Inside the Alliance ship, tension grew. The officers whispered to each other. They had come to find answers, but what they found was a human fleet ready for war against something that had no name. Rin kept his eyes on Mira's vessel and spoke calmly to his crew. He told them they were here to observe, not to fight. He wanted to understand what humanity was facing, not challenge it. After hours of slow movement through the mist, the scanners picked up something massive ahead. It was not a planet, not a ship, and not a station. It was a void in space, a black shape that blocked every signal. The stars behind it vanished. The crew felt a strange vibration under their feet. The hull of the ship began to hum like a living thing. Rin looked at Mira's ship on the screen and saw that all the human vessels were now in formation. Their lights dimmed. Mira's voice returned, calm but heavy. She said this was the source of the destruction they had been fighting for years. They called it the Devourer. It had no face, no body, only hunger. It consumed everything that gave off energy, stars, ships, even planets. When humans first met it, they had lost entire colonies before learning how to fight it. The Phantom vessels were built to trap it, but every battle cost lives. The Alliance crew could feel fear rising in their hearts. They had believed themselves strong. But this creature was beyond their understanding. It did not use weapons or strategy. It simply moved and erased everything in its path. Suddenly, the nebula lit up. A beam of dark light shot out from the void, cutting through the mist. The energy hit one of the human ships, and in a flash it was gone. No explosion, no debris, just gone. Rin's ship shook from the shockwave. Mira's voice shouted orders, and hundreds of Phantom vessels responded at once. They spread out, forming a wall of light between the Devourer and the rest of the fleet. Rin watched the battle unfold. The human ships released energy waves that formed a glowing net. It shimmered like glass and surrounded the black shape. But the Devourer pushed back. The nebula storm grew violent. Bolts of dark energy lashed out, tearing through the shields. Each time a Phantom vessel fell, another moved forward to take its place. There was no panic among them, only purpose. Rin's science officer cried out. The readings were impossible. The human ships were merging their energy signatures, creating something no known technology could do. It was like their minds and ships were one. Rin remembered Mira's words from before. The ships were connected by human minds. These people had become part of the machines they built. Rin contacted Mira. Her face appeared on the screen, pale but steady. He asked how they could fight something that could not die. Mira replied that they were not trying to destroy it. They were trying to imprison it. The humans had learned that the Devourer could not be killed because it was not truly alive. It was a force, an ancient shadow that moved between stars. But it could be trapped if they could collapse enough energy around it to contain it in one place. As she spoke, alarms rang across both ships. The Devourer had broken part of the net. Several Phantom vessels were being pulled into its center, torn apart. The humans did not retreat. They held the line. Mira's ship moved forward. Rin shouted at her through the comm, telling her it was too dangerous, but she only smiled. She said that this was what humanity did. They stood between death and everything else. Then the signal cut off. The human fleet began to charge something massive. The lights on all their ships turned white. The nebula around them glowed brighter and brighter until the sensors failed completely. The energy levels were rising beyond what the Alliance ship could handle. Rin gave the order to move back, but before they could escape, the sky turned to fire. It was not an explosion, but a wave of light that swallowed everything. For a moment, Rin saw the shape of the Devourer twisting, trying to escape, but the light wrapped around it and forced it back. The stars themselves bent and folded. The energy field collapsed in on itself, trapping the creature in a pocket of space that sealed like a wound closing. When the light faded, silence returned. The nebula was gone. In its place was a single glowing sphere floating in the dark. The Devourer was inside, locked forever, but half the human fleet was gone. Only a few Phantom vessels remained, their lights dim but still alive. Rin called for Mira's ship, but there was no answer. The communication lines were dead. He ordered the scanners to search for her vessel. Minutes passed before one of his officers found something. A faint signal came from the far edge of the field. The Phantom vessel was still there, but it was drifting. Its engines were cold, its lights weak. Rin ordered his ship to approach. As they came near, they saw the damage. The hull was cracked, parts of it melted from the energy surge. Rin's crew sent a boarding team. Inside, they found Mira and her people alive but unconscious. The ship's AI had protected them at the last moment. When Mira woke, she was weak but calm. Rin told her that the Devourer was gone, and her fleet had saved not just humanity but the entire galaxy. Mira looked out at the stars and said it was only the beginning. She warned that there were more like it, hidden beyond the void, and that humanity would continue to guard the edge of space to stop them. Rin stood beside her in silence. He felt both fear and respect. These humans were not fighting for power or fame. They were fighting because someone had to stand against the darkness. Their strength came not from weapons, but from will. The Alliance ship carried the survivors back to human space. The remaining Phantom vessels followed, silent and scarred. When they reached the border, the Alliance sent a message to all its member worlds, telling them what they had witnessed. The humans had faced something no other species dared to confront. They had fought and won, though at great cost. In the following days, Mira's people began to rebuild their ships. The Alliance offered help, but the humans politely refused. They said this was their burden and their purpose. Still, Rin could see that something had changed. The Alliance now looked at humanity with new eyes. They were no longer seen as reckless newcomers from a dangerous planet. They were protectors, defenders of life itself. As the Alliance ship prepared to return home, Rin stood on the bridge, watching the human fleet vanish into the stars. He knew he would never forget what he had seen, the courage of a species that refused to surrender even to the darkness between worlds. The record of that battle was sent to every Deathworld Alliance council. And on every world, one truth was spoken again and again. Humanity was no longer just another Deathworld species. They had become the shield of the galaxy. Weeks passed after the great battle in the nebula. The human fleets had returned to their stations, and the Deathworld Alliance ships were slowly traveling back to their own systems. The story of what had happened spread faster than light. Across the galaxy, species who once looked down on humanity now spoke their name with respect and disbelief. They had seen bravery before, but never like this. The humans had faced something that could consume stars and still stood their ground until the end. Commander, Rin sat in the observation chamber of his ship as it drifted through the quiet space near the edge of human territory. The stars looked peaceful again. He had seen too much destruction, yet this silence felt hopeful. His second officer entered and handed him a data tablet. It contained the final report about the battle. Rin read the details carefully. Out of more than 1,000 phantom vessels, only 300 had survived. The rest were gone, sacrificed to seal the devourer forever. Rin looked at the report for a long time. His thoughts went to Mira and the humans who fought beside her. Their courage was not about strength or technology. It came from something deeper, a need to protect others even when no one asked them to. That was something no other species had shown before. A soft signal came from the comm system. It was a message from Earth. Mira wanted to meet before the Alliance Council meeting. Rin agreed and gave the order to set course for the blue planet. As the ship approached Earth, the crew stared at it through the viewports. It looked small compared to the massive Alliance worlds, yet there was something powerful about it. Oceans glimmered, clouds moved gently across its surface, and lights shone from the night side. It was beautiful but fragile, like the heart of a much greater force. When Rin landed on the human station orbiting the planet, he was met by Mira. She was still recovering but looked strong. Her calm expression carried both pride and sadness. The loss of so many ships weighed on her, but she knew they had saved countless lives. Mira led Rin to a large viewing hall filled with representatives from other human colonies. Holograms of damaged phantom vessels floated in the air as engineers discussed how to rebuild them. Rin listened silently, impressed by their determination. The humans were already planning new defense lines, new weapons, and better shields. They did not celebrate victory with arrogance. Instead, they worked with focus, preparing for whatever might come next. Mira explained that the Devourer was only one of many threats beyond the edge. Humanity had found strange signals, unknown objects, and traces of other entities in the dark. They believed the galaxy was much older and more dangerous than anyone thought. That was why they built the Earth Defense Corps. Not for conquest, but for survival. Rin asked her why they had never told the Alliance about these dangers before. Mira looked out the window at the stars and said that when humanity first discovered the truth, no one believed them. The other species called them paranoid and reckless. So humans decided to protect the galaxy quietly, even if no one understood. Rin could not find words for a moment. He finally said that the Alliance would believe now. Mira smiled slightly and replied that belief was not enough. They needed unity. A week later, the Council of the Deathworld Alliance gathered in the Great Hall on the planet Thalos. It was a place of shining crystal towers and deep blue skies. Delegates from more than 40 worlds filled the chamber. The air was tense. Everyone had heard the reports of the human battle and the defeat of the Devourer. Many were proud of humanity's success, but others were afraid. The council speaker, an old being from the planet Varn, opened the meeting. He spoke slowly, his voice echoing through the hall. He said the Alliance must decide how to respond to humanity's actions. Some feared that humans were becoming too powerful, while others believed they were the only hope against the greater dangers. Rin stepped forward and asked to speak. He told the entire story from the first moment they had discovered the phantom vessel to the final explosion in the nebula. He described how the humans fought, not for control or revenge, but for the safety of every living world. He told them about Mira and the fleet that gave their lives to trap the enemy. His voice grew stronger as he spoke. He said that humanity had done what the Alliance never dared to do. They had faced the dark when everyone else hid. When Rin finished, silence filled the hall. The delegates looked at each other. Then one of them, a reptilian general from the planet Corin, stood up. He said that he had fought wars all his life, but he had never seen such sacrifice. He voted to form a new alliance with humanity, not as leaders or followers, but as equals. One by one, others stood and agreed. Some were still unsure, but none denied what had been done. Finally, the council speaker raised his staff and declared the formation of a new order, the Galactic Defense Union. Humanity would lead its outer edge, guarding the unknown borders while the Alliance would provide resources and support. Mira stood beside Rin as the announcement spread through the hall.
She felt a weight lift from her heart.
For the first time, humanity was not alone in its struggle. The galaxy would stand together. The next months were full of change. New stations were built across the border worlds. Joint fleets were formed, mixing human and alien crews. The phantom vessel design was shared with the Alliance engineers, though some secrets were kept. Training centers opened on Earth where soldiers from many species learned together. For the first time, there was trust between them. Rin stayed on Earth as the Alliance representative. He often visited Mira's command base to discuss defense plans. They spent long nights watching the stars, talking about the unknown space beyond the charts. Sometimes they would see strange readings on the scanners, small distortions, faint echoes. It was a reminder that the darkness had not disappeared completely. One evening, as they stood by the viewing window, Mira said something that stayed in Rin's mind. She said that humanity was not special because of strength or intelligence. They were special because they refused to stop hoping, even when surrounded by fear. That was why they survived on a Deathworld, and that was why they would survive in space. Rin nodded. He had learned that lesson from her and from every human who had fought in that battle. The galaxy had many powerful races, but none with hearts like humans. Years later, the story of the battle with the Devourer became legend. Children on every planet learned about the humans who faced the darkness and the alliance that stood beside them afterward. Statues were built on many worlds showing a human and an alien standing together, holding the symbol of the new union, a circle split by light and shadow. But while others celebrated peace, humanity kept working. Deep beyond the known systems, new phantom vessels patrolled silently. They scanned for signs of another threat. They were ready to act if the darkness returned. Mira continued to command the fleet from her station. She never sought fame or power. To her, the only victory that mattered was the safety of others. She often thought of the lost ships, the men and women who had become part of the machines to protect everyone. She believed they still existed in some way, their minds watching from the stars, guarding the galaxy even in death. Rin eventually retired from service but stayed close to human space. He wrote his experiences into a record called Guardians of the Edge. It was read across the galaxy and became a message of unity and courage. He ended his writing with a simple line: "When the galaxy trembled, humanity did not hide. They responded." Many years later, as Rin grew old, he received a message from Mira. It was short but filled with meaning. She said that new readings had been found far beyond the galactic rim. Something was moving again in the dark. The old fear returned to Rin's heart, but he smiled. He knew that if danger came, humanity would be there to face it first. The humans never claimed to be heroes. They only believed that someone had to stand between life and destruction. That belief made them the shield of the stars. And so, as the galaxy slept under the light of countless suns, the watch continued. On the edge of the void, the phantom vessels drifted in perfect silence. Their lights pulsed softly, marking the boundary between safety and chaos. Inside each ship, human minds remained linked, calm and unbroken. If any new darkness ever dared to rise, they would be ready once again. The galaxy would hear their signal, clear and strong, the same message that started it all.